Hi, and welcome to Ivy English. I'm Karen.
And I am Chris Gorski.
Today is September 16th, and we're going to talk today about a very, very, very cute creature.
Yes, that's right. We are talking about the beluga, and that is a whale. It's a big, huggable, soft, cold, white animal in the ocean. It sounds terrible when I describe it.
It sounds like you've hugged one before.
No, I haven't, but I really want to. They're just so... They look like if you can, hug a marshmallow. That's what they look like.
I bet they're firmer than a marshmallow, but it's that kind of smile they have on their face. I describe them as cheeky. A cheek is the side of your face towards the two sides of your mouth. Those are your cheeks. But if someone is cheeky, that means they're kind of sassy. They will make jokes, kind of make fun of you in a playful way. They're cheeky.
That's right. It's a very British word, but cheeky is a very good way to describe them. They're playful and they're fun, a little bit naughty, but not bad. No one is afraid of a beluga whale. And when you see them in their pictures or when you're looking in your magazine, you'll know why they're so beloved by kids.
That said, you should keep in mind that they are wild animals. And a lot of people like to go swimming, for example, with porpoises, which are related to the whales. And they have gotten attacked sexually by them.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Dolphins they are excitable animals.
Yeah. So don't assume that just because they're cute, that you are safe and that you can figure out, you can predict everything that's going to happen, because you can't. They are wild animals.
Yeah, to be fair, I am not a person that wants to jump in. Do you ever jump into the tank? Do you ever see those adventures where you can go swim with the animals or be in the shark cage?
Occasionally. Yeah.
I'm not so excited. I wouldn't want to do that.
Me either.
Yeah, they're too big.
No way. Okay, today we're going to talk about belugas, and there's one other thing that I think we can mention right at the beginning. Chris and I both thought of the same song by a very famous singer of children's songs.
That's right, and in fact, I heard you're going to sing it for us.
No, I'm not, but I'll give you his name. His name is Raffi. It's spelled R-A-F-F-I, and the name of the song is Baby Beluga, and it's really catchy, so be prepared that if you play this song, you will be humming it all day.
That's right, and we should say that Baby Beluga comes well before Baby Shark that was so infectious years ago. But I should also mention that Baby Shark actually is actually an older song that got readjusted and became that big viral hit. I remember singing Baby Shark when I was a kid.
Really?
But I think Baby Beluga is even older than that.
Yeah, it's older than that. I thought Baby Shark was invented in Korea.
No. I sang Baby Shark at my Boy Scout camp in the 90s. So
I had this idea it came from Korea.
But it was sung differently. The Korean version is sung a little bit more upbeat. The doot-doot part is different. I sang, I can't even remember it. Baby Shark, doot. I got the Korean version stuck in my head. I can't think of the way I used to sing it. But it was a little slower. It was a catchy song, but not as catchy as Baby Shark. But I still like Baby Beluga better. It's less annoying.
It's less annoying. It's got a lot more content.
Yeah.
And it's got it's full of love and tender feelings.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to our article, our title. Belugas, the cutest whales of the sea. Beluga whales are one of the most recognizable cetaceans, an order of marine mammals that includes all whales and dolphins. Like their close cousin, the tusk-bearing narwhal, belugas inhabit the chilly waters of the Arctic Ocean, especially around the northern coasts of North America. What really sets them apart is their unique white color and bulb-shaped forehead. Read on to learn some other surprising facts about beluga whales.
Belugas are one of the most vocal species of whales. Due to the wide range of sounds they produce, including a variety of squeaks, whistles, chirps, and popping sounds, they have been nicknamed the canaries of the sea.
They are rather slow swimmers. In fact, the average speed at which a beluga whale swims is a mere 3 to 9 kilometers per hour, similar to the normal walking speed of a human. For comparison's sake, orcas, also known as killer whales, can swim up to 56 kilometers per hour. However, one cool thing is that belugas are capable of swimming backwards.
These white whales are actually born dark gray. Over time, they gradually lose their gray color, but it takes 7 to 9 years to become fully white. The white color is an adaptation to the Arctic environment camouflaging them from their predators, polar bears and orcas.
Their forehead is called the melon, which enables echolocation and facilitates sound production. The melon is actually a mass of adipose tissue, so its shape changes when belugas make sounds by blowing air around their sinuses. This helps them focus their emitted sounds.
Beluga whales have huge appetites. In a single day, the beluga eats 27 kilograms of seafood. To put this in perspective, that is roughly equivalent to 192 McDonald's fish burgers.
Hopefully, these facts allow you to appreciate just how distinctive these snow-white residents of our planet's northern waters are. Back to the beginning, our title again, Belugas, the cutest whales of the sea. Now, I don't know how the other whales would feel about that evaluation. I don't know. There are probably other cute whales as well. Sometimes it's kind of hard to think of them as being cute because they are so large. But yeah, you look at a picture and you might have to agree. Okay, the first sentence, beluga whales are one of the most recognizable cetaceans, an order of marine mammals that includes all whales and dolphins. Now, when they say order, they are not talking about a list of food that you want the waitress to bring you. What are they talking about?
Well, they're talking about the way we kind of classify and group animals and even plants by their design. And this is called taxonomy, Taxonomy, taxonomy.
Right. And when I was in school learning this stuff, we started with kingdom. And I had a little mnemonic to remember it. So Carl or Kathy played clown on Friday's Grand Special, which gives us kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. And then Chris said that the mnemonic that he learned, mnemonic is something that helps you remember something, was
Dumb King Philip came over for good spaghetti.
Good heavens.
So the first letter of each word represents the first letter of the thing you need to remember. I use these a lot in my own classroom.
And they're very useful. But above kingdom, we now have dominion, and that's news to me because I didn't learn that when I was in school. That came later.
It's funny to look back. If you guys are a little older, or when you get a little older, when you start getting advanced in the years, go look back at the science textbooks that your kids are learning, and there will be differences. And you'll say, I didn't learn that. And things will be different. Like the way kids learn about dinosaurs today is very different than the way we learned about dinosaurs. You know, I'm still used to thinking of them as like big lizards, but they got feathers now.
They were originally birds. Okay, so there you go. So from dominion down to kingdom, phylum, class, order. It's right in the middle of that list of categories. So an order of marine mammals that includes a lot of other animals that are related but not quite like it. It includes both whales and dolphins. Also, you see a fancy word here, cetaceans. Cetaceans is this particular order that includes whales and dolphins. It's a good word to know. You may not use it in everyday conversation, but it will certainly come up in some GRE test or in TOEFL or whatever. Cetaceans is an order of marine mammals that we're talking about today. And recognizable, that means that we're all pretty familiar with them. We've seen them in like videos on TV and other places. Okay, next sentence. Like their close cousin, the tusk-bearing narwhal, belugas inhabit the chilly waters of the Arctic Ocean, especially around the northern coasts of North America. So this is now telling us where we can find belugas. It's telling us which kind of animal they are quite similar to. Their close cousin is the narwhal, and that's an unusual spelling. It looks like whale at the end, but there's no E usually, narwhal. And what's really special about them is they have this very straight, long tusk. When you say tusk, you might think of elephants and they curve up, but this one is straight and long. It's really long, and you think that it would make them very vulnerable, but somehow evolution has left them with this very long tusk. It's quite unusual. So belugas are related to this mammal. And where the waters that are very cold, they're chilly. When they say chilly, that's understating. That means they're not making it sound as cold as it really is. Waters of the Arctic Ocean, way far north in North America. So probably around Canada, Alaska, places like that. Okay, to continue. What really sets them apart is their unique white color and bulb-shaped forehead. And this gives us a lot of information of what they look like. First of all, their color. They are white and they will stand out. And second, bulb, you think of a bulb that you put in a lamp, a light bulb. So it's got a big rounded part of it. Their forehead has this bulb shape to it that makes them very special and distinctive.
And now, while we're talking about the white color of the beluga, that's in fact what their name means. The Russian word for white, it has that B-E-L, so we have a beluga. It's telling you it's a white animal. There are a lot of English words that have this B-E-L or B-L that are related to the color white or to purify or to clean.
Like bleach?
Bleach, blanch, blank, blend, blind, blonde, blaze. There are a lot of words that use this BL that are related to the color white or purity.
Oh, that's pretty interesting. Read on to learn some other surprising facts about beluga whales. When you see this sentence, then you can kind of get ready to learn a bunch of facts here and there that are not necessarily closely interconnected. So just a few things that are of interest from one topic jumping onto the next.
Okay, so let's jump into our next paragraph here. Belugas are one of the most vocal species of whales.
Okay, that means that they make a lot of interesting sounds.
And you were saying that you listened to some YouTube clips of them kind of just making their various kind of sounds. And what did you think about them?
Well, why don't you read the next sentence because it describes them very well.
All right, our next sentence. Due to the wide range of sounds they produce, including a variety of squeaks, whistles, chirps, and popping sounds, they have been nicknamed the canaries of the sea.
They really do have a wide repertoire of sounds. And first of all, how do they produce them? Not through their mouth. It's through the blowhole at the top of their head. And it says later that it's their sinuses that they can make them expand and retract. So with this blowhole blowing out water and air, they can make sounds like screams, like ah kinds of sounds, and squeaks. And they have one that goes goes down the scale. They have another one that sounds a lot to me like a blackbird or like a crow. Caw, caw, caw. And they have a really fun one, which is
They just blow out, right?
It's a raspberry, or it sounds like a fart.
So these bubbles can also be used to kind of communicate with each other. And so rather than just making sounds, they also might just blow bubbles in a certain way to kind of say, hey, listen, instead of shouting, making predators, or maybe food they want to eat, prey aware, their bubbles can be used to communicate with each other. And they even have like a social bonding, friendly way of blowing bubbles in a way of saying, hey, we're friends.
Yeah, and we're going to learn in a later paragraph about echolocation. We'll save that for that paragraph. So canaries of the sea, they make all these beautiful sounds is what they mean. Our next paragraph, they are rather slow swimmers. So compared to other marine animals, they do not swim that fast. In fact, the average speed at which a beluga whale swims is a mere 3 to 9 kilometers per hour, similar to the normal walking speed of a human. When I saw that, I kind of laughed because that's about how fast I hike. It's when I'm really lazy and sauntering, it's around 3 kilometers per hour. When I'm faster, I can go maybe up to 5.
It does sound weird that an animal, this animal this big would move so slowly, doesn't it? Like I was like, wow, is that like at their slowest speeds? No, it seems to be like their maximum. Like they're in no rush to go anywhere.
And they've survived fine, so there must be some advantage to it. For comparison's sake, orcas, also known as killer whales, can swim up to 56 kilometers per hour. That was a really good contrast. I mean, what a difference. I mean, that is, when you're on the freeway, you'll probably drive around that speed. However, one cool thing is that belugas are capable of swimming backwards, and that's very impressive.
So a word you might see when we're talking about speed in the ocean is a knot, K-N-O-T. Generally speaking, if you're talking about speed in water, we'll talk knots. But really, for most people, it doesn't really mean anything. Oh, they're moving 20 knots. What does that mean? That's right. So just be aware of this. Knot is related to the way rope is tied. It's actually comes from that same kind of word. But everyone knows anyways that it's cooler to walk slower than to walk really fast. If you want to be cool, you walk slowly.
That's a good point. Okay, next paragraph.
These white whales are actually born dark gray. Over time, they gradually lose their gray color, but it takes 7 to 9 years to become fully white.
I did not know that because I think of them as typically white. I guess those were older.
Yeah, I wonder what the advantage is to have a dark gray beluga, because we know as they get older, it's more useful to be white. Maybe it's because they're deeper in the water, so they're less exposed.
Don't know.
I have no idea. So one thing we might be able to think about, too, is, well, actually, as we see what their predators will be in our next sentence. The white color is an adaptation to the Arctic environment, camouflaging them from their predators, polar bears, and orcas.
And that makes sense. I wonder if they're gray because if they're kind of swimming around under mom, in the darkness, they'll be less visible.
Yeah, they're not going to be up at the top with, because they're not as big. They're going to be easier picking.
Right.
There's a reason for them to be dark gray, right?
They'll probably be protected by the larger belugas.
Now, while we're talking about the word orca, an orca is also known as a killer whale, but we should be clear that orcas are closer related to dolphins. Porpoises, like Karen was saying earlier, they're not killer whales. They're not whales at all. So how did we end up with this word? Well, orcas were seen by the Spanish sailors, and they called them baleña asesina, which means assassin whales. These dolphins were so powerful, they were called whale killers. But somehow this got flipped around, and they became known as killer whales, and now everyone thinks they're whales.
But they're dolphins. Okay, next sentence. Their forehead is called the melon, which enables echolocation and facilitates sound production. Now, this is a really interesting part for somebody who's interested in phonetics and sound. So, because it's got that bulb shape, they gave it the name melon. It enables echolocation. That means they're going to send out clicks. They're going to send out sounds, and then they will listen to how long it takes for the sound to be reflected back to them so that they will know what is ahead. And this is kind of on the side. I have a friend in the Netherlands who has designed a vision substitution system for blind people. So you're basically wearing a video camera, and then it takes a picture of what's ahead of you. It converts it into sound, and then it goes boom, boom. And then you know that there's a big white thing in front of you. So it does something similar. A lot of blind people also use echolocation. They'll tap with their cane.
Right.
Or they will make clicks, and then they listen to how long it takes for the sound to come back. So there's a lot of places where we use sound to actually see and to know what's in front of us. And that is what belugas do. So they send these clicks out again through that hole, that hole on the top of their head, their air hole. Okay, the melon is actually a mass of adipose tissue, so its shape changes when belugas make sounds by blowing air around their sinuses. So they're blowing out air, and there's sort of like bags around it, and then they can change the size of them in order to change the pitch of the sound or the nature of the sound. Adipose is a fancy scientific word for fat. The first time I learned adipose in science class, I thought, now that's a very fancy way of saying you're flabby.
It just means body fat. I agree. It is a very, very fancy word for a very simple thing.
That's right. Okay, and so they make these sounds. They're sinuses. Sinuses is something humans have as well. Look that up. We can't give you the Chinese, but it's something inside your nose. And when you have a cold, sometimes your sinuses get filled with liquid and other junk. This helps them focus their emitted sound. So they can use the sinuses and squeeze them to change the pitch of the sound and make it louder. And that's pretty clever. Emitted means sent out.
Now, a beluga whale is more than 40% adipose tissue, which is, that's a lot.
That's a lot. Okay.
And our next paragraph here, beluga whales have huge appetites. That means they really want to eat a lot of food. In a single day, the beluga eats 27 kilograms of seafood.
What kind of image pops into your mind when you read that?
I was thinking of the episode of The Simpsons where Homer went to an all-you-can-eat seafood buffet, and he ate so much that they kicked him out, and he was so mad because he wasn't full that they went fishing to catch more fish.
That's actually, I hadn't seen that episode. I read about it online. But I was thinking of a very similar scene. I was thinking of an all-you-can-eat restaurant with lots and lots of seafood.
Really?
I was thinking of almost exactly the same thing without having watched
like pounding the shrimp, just eating as much as you can.
Hey, I was thinking of all of these beautiful crystal plates and dishes with all kinds of seafood placed out, and then you can just eat as much as you want. But that brings to mind a similar experience that I had when I went to Luodong. My landlord lived there, and they took me on a trip to their home, and we just had tons and tons of seafood, and I ended up with terrible diarrhea.
Oh.
I don't think the seafood was bad. It was just too much.
Just too much, right? Your body's like, I'm not comfortable with it.
It was fresh, and I'm sure it was cooked properly, but it was way too much seafood. So don't overeat seafood. That's what I was thinking. I guess you have really a large body to accommodate all that seafood without getting diarrhea.
All right, and our next sentence, to put this in perspective, that is roughly equivalent to 192 McDonald's fish burgers. I always called them fish fillets, but
yes,
okay.
That's what they are. That isn't quite as impressive as imagining that big all-you-can-eat seafood buffet.
So while we're talking about appetites and we're talking about animals in the ocean, just very quickly about blue whales, the blue whale is the biggest animal that has ever lived. And that means a baby blue whale needs to grow very, very quickly. They gain about 200 pounds a day in its first year. That means you get a pound of new blue whale every 8 minutes.
Oh.
To put this in a perspective,
wow.
It would literally be impossible to eat a blue whale because it grows faster than you can eat.
You can eat.
That's a ridiculous thing to think about.
I would not want to try. Okay, and they also tend to live a very long time, well over 100 years old.
Colossal animal.
Yep. Okay, our last paragraph. Hopefully, these facts allow you to appreciate just how distinctive these snow-white residents of our planet's northern waters are. There's not much content here. It just means that hope that you enjoyed it and learned something. We have a couple questions for you here at the end. Number 1, according to the passage, which of the following statements is true? A, narwhals are a type of orca.
B, orcas are a type of cetacean.
C, cetaceans are a type of whale.
And D, belugas are a type of dolphin.
And the correct answer is
B, orcas are a type of cetacean.
Right. The classification is cetaceans. So you wouldn't say that cetaceans are a type of whale. The others are kind of nonsense. Number 2.
Which of the following features about belugas is not mentioned in the passage?
A, their size.
B, their appearance.
C, how much they eat.
D, how they produce sounds.
Actually, all of them sounded kind of familiar, but the one thing they really didn't mention much about was
their size, letter A.
We don't really know, so you have to go online and look at the videos. All right, number 3. What can we learn about belugas from the passage?
A, they live in warm areas.
B, they swim more slowly than humans.
C, they make sounds only when they see their kind.
And D, their color enables them to blend into the surroundings, and D is the correct answer. Number 4.
Which of the following parts is used when belugas squeak?
So you're going to have to look at the lettered arrows, and the arrows, they're lines pointing to different parts of a picture of a beluga. We know it's not their fin or their tail. It's not their tail. It's not their front fin. And it's not their back. And that leaves only C, which is at the top of their melon, that bulbous shape part of their head, where you find the air hole. So the answer is C.
Fun fact, you could fit a horse into a blue whale's fart.
That is the funniest. That is such a grade school boy thing.
Yeah, I think the horse would be pretty unhappy.
That is funny. That sounds like something exactly like what an 8-year-old boy would say.
I read that and I was gleeful.
Still an 8-year-old. That's it for today. Tune in next time. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.